This light is setting a new standard for what portable lights can do and should do. This is the Zhiyun FiveRay M40, and it's a 40-watt portable light that fits pretty much anywhere and packs some serious power. This is one of those things that made its way into my bag and has not left since. I find myself using it more often than I ever expected, and I'll tell you guys why. But first, if you're into all things filmmaking and content creation, make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. So first things first, I just want to jump through a really quick unboxing. There's not a lot in here, so it'll be really quick. So immediately once you open it up, you've got a little sleeve with the instruction manual that comes in a bunch of languages, so no matter where you're from, you can access that. Then you've got the light itself, which is, like I said, super compact for how powerful it is. So you pull it right out of this little sleeve, slides right out, and then you've got what is effectively a palm-sized light, which is really cool to have 40 watts of power in this size and makes it really easy to carry around, fit in your bag. Overall, it's a super versatile light, especially with the capabilities of being bicolor, which I'll jump into here shortly. And beyond that, the only other thing you've got in here is just a USB-A to USB-C charging cord so that you can get that thing up to full power. Now, I'm not going to get too overly technical with the specs in particular, but I'll go through some of the important ones so that you can really understand just how much value you're getting in a light like this. So as I mentioned, 40 watts of output is significant. Right now, I'm using an 80-watt light that's got a softbox on it, so it's a really big and soft light. Right now, I have it at about 25%. So if you put that into context, it's sitting at about 20 watts right now, which is a ton of power. So this thing can do double what this output is currently, which is really, really cool considering, like I said, the size and all the features they've packed into it. Now, in my opinion, the next most important feature that this comes with is the fact that it is bicolor, and it goes all the way down to 2700 Kelvin and all the way up to 6700 Kelvin. So you're getting both spectrums of the warm and cool side so that you can stylize your scenes accordingly. Having spent a decent amount of time now working with both bicolor and daylight colored lights, I always try and opt for bicolor when possible just because of the stylization options that you get. So that explains one of the dials here on the top. The other one is a dimmer, and it can go from 100% all the way down, and you see just how bright that is. It can go from 100% all the way down to 1%, so you've got a lot of variability in how much power you want to output on this. So overall, with that bicolor feature, this is a really versatile light that you can use for a lot of things, and it's really great just to have it in your bag just in case you need a little bit of extra light in a low light setting, or if you're in a studio setting. I've used it in a lot of different scenarios, which I'll jump into here in a minute. But now that I've gotten some of those features out of the way, one of my favorite features on this whole setup is this articulating arm that you see on the back here. This is something that I haven't seen on any other portable light, and it really changes what you can do with this light in different settings. So the arm itself articulates out fully in 360 degrees, and it's got two 1/4-20 mounts on it, so you can rig it up onto a light stand or a tripod of some sort, and then you have the versatility of having it on a stand. But beyond that, you're then able to kind of shape the light and the angle in which it's pointing by using that articulating arm, which I think is a really neat feature for something that you can just carry around in your bag. One of the uses that I've actually used this for quite a bit in the first couple weeks that I've had it is to use it as a hair light. And you can ultimately set this up on a boom arm or a C-stand and get it up into a position. It's very small, it's very lightweight. And if you just need to do a quick interview setup where you want to have a hair light, this is a great thing to just pop up there and add that little bit extra to your shot without having to bring a whole nother light with you and have to lug that around. So that alone is enough reason for me to want to keep this around with me, because that hair light just adds a lot. And anytime you even want to use it as an accent light or maybe a little bit of a fill, it's just a really nice light to have with you so that you don't have to carry around another big bulky one that needs power. Now that covers basically the exterior features, but what's really interesting about this particular light is some of the interior features. It actually has an interior fan in here that allows it to be as powerful as it is without really having to worry about it overheating. On the top, bottom, left, and back side, there's a bunch of vents, and if you even look close enough, you can see the fan in there that kicks on once you get the light going. That helps keep it cool so that you can run it for a significant period of time. So speaking of time, if you're going to run this at full power at that 40 watts, you're going to get 29 minutes of runtime when you have a full charge. But you can actually extend that all the way to an hour and 37 minutes if you're just running it at 25% or 10 watts, which is a pretty crazy amount of time considering how small and lightweight this is. The fact that they're able to get that much output should be plenty for pretty much anything you're doing in a run and gun scenario where you would want to just have this to pop out. And speaking of weight, this is definitely heavier because it's a higher quality build than some of the other lower output lights that you can get for a similar purpose. So it comes in at 320 grams, which is just under 3/4 of a pound. So it is definitely a bit hefty in your hand, but that is backed by the build quality and the quality that you're getting out of it. And for the final piece, talking about specs in particular, it has 176 different LED chips here. You'll notice that the chips are actually in rows that are different colors, and that's actually so that you can control and dial in the particular Kelvin that you're looking for, because some of them are warmer, some of them are cooler. And overall, there's 176 of those chips in there, so that's how you're achieving that output, which I also didn't mention before, but it's extremely color accurate with a 96 CRI rating. But that covers all the specs. So now I want to jump into just some of my real world experiences with this, some of the things that I really like about this particular light, and how it's compared to some of the other options that I've had in the past 3 or 4 years. So for me, I always keep a light like this in my bag just because you never know when you're going to need just a little bit of light to add that just final touch to one of your scenes. Some of my favorite things to use these things for, as I mentioned, is just as a hair light in a tight situation where you don't want to have to grab a full nother light. You can just have this, pop it out. You can use it for that particular scene. It works really well. You can throw it in as an accent light in a lot of different situations to have some motivated light coming in from the side without needing, again, to grab a whole nother light with that can do crazy output. And especially in these run and gun scenarios, there are times where there's just flat out not enough light, or you just need a little bit more to add some punch. Like, for example, if you're shooting a subject that's supposed to be looking at their phone and it's not lighting up their face enough, having this to be able to set in a way that you can't see it, but then it adds that extra light to help you give that effect. It's something that is irreplaceable to have in your bag, and you're not going to be able to achieve without having something like this. And I've had at least 5 or 6 of these different models that can do bicolor and so on and so forth, but this is by far the best build quality that I've had in terms of any of those. I love that it's rechargeable. The battery life is really good, so in most cases, I'm not even going to run through that whole battery in a day because I'm just going to be using it for little things. So overall, this is definitely something that I would highly recommend everybody having in their bag pretty much at all times. Like I said, it weighs less than a pound and it's a very small, slim profile. So being able to just slide it in there and have it just in case you need it, it's definitely something that I will always have with me from now on because it's the best quality that I've seen. And it serves a lot of different purposes for the various little things that just add that extra punch that I like to have in my shots. So I would highly recommend checking it out if you're in the market for one of these, because overall I've been blown away by its performance, and it's definitely staying in my bag for a very long time. If you guys like that video and you're into all things filmmaking, gear, short films, etc., make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.